The fourth issue with multi-threading is something called thread local storage or TLS. So we know that a process has its own memory, heap, stack, data, text and all. And we know that except for the stack, everything else is shared memory between all the threads. So if you have 10 threads in a process, all 10 of them will access the same memory. And this data sharing is one of the benefits of multi-threaded programming. So when we looked at the benefits of multi-threading, one of the things we saw is that you don't need to create separate memory locations. All the threads are going to access the same data, so it saves both time and space, which is a big benefit. But sometimes each thread might need its own copy of certain data. This totally depends on what the process is asking you to do, what the thread is asked to do. So there might be situations where each thread needs its own copy of certain data, so it makes that copy. So it looks at the common memory, it takes whatever locations it needs, it makes a copy of that and stores it in a separate memory location which is accessible only to that individual thread. Such copies are called thread local storage or TLS. Now there is nothing wrong as such with this, but when the quantities of individual copies increase, obviously the space complexity is going to increase. So this creates an overhead. So this is not a very common issue, or when you look at it in a small scale perspective, it might seem like fine. If a process is going to add two numbers and you divide that into two threads, it is okay if each thread has a copy of those two numbers. It is fine. It's going to take up 2 to 3 extra memory locations. But when you have huge processes which use huge quantities of data, which have a large number of threads, if each thread wants its own copy of all the data, we saw data parallelism, task parallelism and all that, then if each thread is going to create its own local storage, you're going to have a significant overhead in terms of space complexity. So that is a potential issue.